You look like a cut of fuckable meat, are you?
Adam Smasher is a full Borg solo and rival of Morgan Blackhand. Smasher is employed by Arasaka, and by 2077 he has risen to the position of head of security and the personal bodyguard of Yorinobu.
Adam Smasher is a towering cyborg with very little humanity left to be seen, not that he ever had much to begin with. He is the rival, as stated, of Morgan Blackhand, and he also dealt the killing blow to Johnny Silverhand. Adam was given a choice by Arasaka after being reduced to mush by an RPG blast, either pull the plug or become a full-body cyborg. With little to no options and a lack of care for his human side, he agreed and became more machine than man. Adam has no empathy for people or even his fellow employees, but Arasaka kept him alive, so he lives to repay their kind deeds to him by killing the enemies of the corporation.
So Biography. In the 2000s, Adam Smasher was a fairly typical punk, the worthless New York mook who moved into the army when they wiped out his gang. After several years in uniform, he was discharged for bad conduct and took up being a contract gun boy in New York. It was a good life for Adam. His lack of squeamishness and sadistic thoroughness brought in enough jobs to keep him in guns, gear, drugs, and brutal one-night stands. But he finally went on that one job where everything fell apart. A couple of rockets turned him into meatloaf. His buddies backpacked what was left of him out of the zone and back to the Big Apple. A mysterious corporate benefactor took note and made him the classic offer he couldn't refuse: corporate service in a metal body or death. As if thoughts of lost humanity would bother Adam.
So in the 2010s, 7 years later since then, the new Adam Smasher, Cyborg, had made quite a name for himself along the eastern seaboard. He hired out for almost any mission presented to him, as long as it wasn't an obvious suicide or double cross. He does have one stipulation: collateral damage and civilian casualties are a must. During this, he had developed quite a rivalry with Morgan Blackhand along the way, seeing the classic solo as a threat to his metal is better than me worldview. Adam had repeatedly tried to challenge him to a face-off, but Morgan only ignored him at every possible confrontation. Naturally, this snubbing had simply stoked the cyborg's psychopathic rage higher. Meanwhile, the secret benefactors had allowed him time for freelancing. That had changed with the war. Now, Adam is somewhat fully employed by his patrons, who turned out to be a branch of Arasaka security. All this was fine with him, especially since he knew that Morgan was currently working for Militech.
In the 2020s, Smasher was involved in a wild fling with Michiko Arasaka, topping off the culmination of a night out on her 18th birthday. In 2022, Adam Smasher was recruited by Arasaka to fight in the Fourth Corporate War. During this time, on August 23rd, Smasher was present at what would become the Night City Holocaust at the top of Arasaka Towers. That night, as remarked by a former Spec Ops operative who was present at the mission, Smasher and the rest of the Arasaka troops ambushed Johnny Silverhand and Morgan Blackhand's team. However, Silverhand distracted him, shouting and firing at him with his gun, getting injured by Smasher in the process, yet giving Shaitan an opportunity to hold Smasher back. Smasher later appeared at the top of the towers, preparing to fight Blackhand as the rest of the extraction team left on their Aerodyne, with Blackhand remarking about testing Smasher's philosophy for itself shortly before the nuclear bomb detonated. Adam was more than happy to fight for Arasaka because he knew Morgan Blackhand had been hired by Militech. Arasaka supplied him with everything he could ever want, including the Dai-Oni power armor conversion gear that turned Adam into a nearly unstoppable machine. During the assault on the Arasaka Towers, Adam Smasher fought against Johnny Silverhand. Adam injured Johnny badly, leaving him to be retrieved from Arasaka medical employees.
So fast forward all the way to 2077, Smasher went missing during the attack on Arasaka Tower. At some point after 2050, he was then assigned as Yorinobu Arasaka's personal bodyguard and had been placed in charge of carrying out Arasaka's dirtiest work, gaining a reputation for expert management of loose ends. He came into possession of several of Johnny Silverhand's effects, such as his gun and car. He also knew where Johnny was buried. Smasher resurfaced a few years before 2077 while doing some jobs for Arasaka. Smasher accompanied Yorinobu in the Konpeki Plaza penthouse, leaving as Evelyn Parker entered. Later on, V and Jackie conducted a heist for the relic. Smasher accompanied Yorinobu as his father Sakura arrived. Smasher and Saburo's bodyguard, Goro Takamura, left shortly before Yorinobu snapped and strangled his father. Smasher attempted to stop the witnesses, V and Jackie Wells, but they managed to escape before he could pursue them. Yorinobu then became the CEO of Arasaka, promoting Smasher to head of security. Sandayu Oda later warned Smasher that the memorial parade for Saburo will be sabotaged in an effort to harm Yorinobu's sister, Hanako Arasaka. Smasher brushed off Oda's warnings, accusing Oda of disobeying Yorinobu as Oda persisted in questioning Smasher's actions. Oda was ultimately correct. With V's help, Takamura gained access to Hanako's float in order to kidnap her. Smasher afterwards led an Arasaka strike team, personally rescuing Hanako and ordered for her kidnappers to be killed.
So in each ending, V fights against Adam Smasher in order to accomplish their goal. In certain endings, V will fight alongside Takamura, Wayland or Panam. In some cases, V will fight Smasher alone. After V defeats Smasher, he can be spared as he is hurt telling V that they haven't seen the last of him. If Adam Smasher is killed, that is the last night V will ever hear of him.
So just before we get onto the final notes, I'll just read the database entry directly from Cyberpunk 2077. What with a full body conversion, not much is left of Adam Smasher the man. Well, his humanity was always questionable. Smasher's in charge of taking out Arasaka's dirty laundry, but he likes to do things his own way. Way back in 2023, he killed Johnny Silverhand during the attack on Arasaka Tower, after which Silverhand's personality was digitized by the Soul Killer program. If Smasher finds out that Johnny's back, he'll probably want to finish what he started. Smasher doesn't like to leave loose ends.
So his outfit as well. Basically, he has a full cyborg body, heavily modified Samsung frame, 2 sets of interface plugs, chip slot, paint editors, link set, smart gun vehicle data, optics suite, low light thermograph, Times Square plus, targeting scope, anti-dazzle, cyber audio, radio, tight beam radio, and 7 links with scrambler, scanner, enhanced range, amplified hearing, sound editor, level damper, Wolvers in both arms, quick change mounts, radiation shielding, biopod. Smasher typically wears SP20 armoured coveralls when he's on the job, giving him a total SP of 42.
And he also has the Tsunami Arms Helix. So just finally going on to some notes. If V and Jackie do not leave after Yorinobu Arasaka, Goro Takamura and Smasher evacuate the suite in the heist mission, Smasher will eventually return and compliment V for their bravery, but insult them for their stupidity. He will then severely wound V with the bullets from his arm gun and finishes them off by stomping on V's head while Jackie panics.
And if V has a certain modern Karoshi optics, they can see that Smasher detects them, and Jackie when he enters Yorinobu's suite, and the scan shows Smasher is 96% cyberware in 2077.
And finally, if V has the proper level and quick hacks, upon Adam Smasher returning to the penthouse in Konteki Plaza, V is actually physically capable of defeating him very early in the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's almost impossible to have that level though, like at that point.
Yeah, unless you use cheats on PC or like just don't do the main quest at all. But you need like a certain level of street cred as well, which I think is very difficult to obtain unless you've done some main missions. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but still doable.
So he's obviously depicted as this kind of Borg style, like, you know, RoboCop. Basically, he's only got his head left, like, and even that's pretty messed up at this point. He's kind of the culmination, isn't he, of like cybernetic enhancements, and basically he's a guy that's lost his humanity long before he actually even became a cyborg. Which, you know, it's an interesting look at, you know, one of the biggest things that we see in a lot of this technology that's going out is the application of it. And here's a guy that was in the army, that enjoyed killing, and basically lost his soul, you know.
Yeah, and ultimately he landed his dream job, really, doing exactly what he enjoyed doing, but, you know, from the comfort of Arasaka's employ.
Yeah, he's quite a good quite a good character, quite a good probably should have been a sub boss, but quite a good boss character in the game. And certainly when you kind of come across him, when you very first come across him in the what's it called? It's not a mind meld. You know the clip from Evelyn Park when you're scoping the joint.
Yeah.
And you see him in that scene, like straight away, you kind of know I'm going to have to obviously fight this guy at some point, and it is quite well done. You go, shit, you know, I've got a long way to go before I'm ready to take on someone like that.
Yeah, definitely. He sort of shows like what the peak of what you can sort of become in terms of a combat like machine in the Cyberpunk world, and eventually, obviously, you do have to fight him, and he is probably the hardest boss in the game. But again, I definitely feel like, as you say, he probably should not have been the final boss. It should have remained sort of like a sub final boss, as he is only meant to be a bodyguard for people above him.
Yeah. Alright, well that's Adam Smasher. Let us know what you think about him in the comments, and we'll see you in the next Cyberpunk Raw video.
You look like a cut of fuckable meat, are you?